Hello.
Hey.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
What's up, guys?
That's an old one.
If you've been with us before, what's up, gang? What's up, friends, fam?
Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by.
Two Peas in a Crime Pod here. If this is your first time, hello.
We're so happy to see you.
Please stay, like and subscribe. Either way, we're happy to see you, but I do love you a little bit more if you've already subscribed. So there's that. Anyways, this is my mom, Kelly. She does everything. She is everything, and everything is her. Yes. Yes. She does all of the case research, planning activities, everything. She's wonderful.
Thank you. This is my lovely daughter, Courtney, who I call Muffin, just so you all know that.
Great. Now they all know you call me Muffin.
And she comes in and she doesn't know what we're going to be talking about on the episodes. So her responses are all real time and witty and fun and very insightful. So we appreciate everything she has to say. She is the life of the podcast. Raise the roof.
Life of the podcast. That's me. I'm not the dick ripper, though. That's you.
I am the dick ripper.
If you don't know what we're talking about, you got to go back and check out episode 23.1. That's a great story.
I'll probably make a short of it, but you'll want to see the whole story to get the full effect.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Oh, the dick ripper and the cunt whisperer.
Another great short.
Oh, mama, my mama. Okay, so we are doing a 3-part episode on the murder of John Lennon. And so some of you might know all about this already and will just be interested to hear some of the interesting facts that's mom come up with this. Or some of you, like me, might know who John Lennon is and know that he was murdered, but not know necessarily everything about his life or the murderer or, you know, what happened. I'm sure there's quite a few people who know a lot about it, but I'd like to think that there's a few of you like me that are just like, you know, busy with life and don't know every detail of everything. And in that case, this will be really enlightening for you, like it has been for me so far. There's a lot of things about him.
We hope you'll find it interesting, even if you do know a lot.
Episode 1 was mostly about John and his life.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there was a lot of things that I didn't know. It was very informative to me, interesting, because I thought that I knew more. I thought I knew him.
Well, I'm a Gen Xer, so I didn't come from the Beatles baby boomer era, but I was more the John Lennon era. And I didn't know most of the facts that I learned in my research. So it was all kind of new to me. And I enjoyed finding out most of the things that I found out.
I'm sure you did, because you're a John Lennon fanboy.
I am.
Fangirling so hard over here. And fuck Paul McCartney is all you wanted to say last time.
I'm over it. I'm not so this time now I'm over it.
Yeah. Imagine all the people living life in peace, Mom.
Imagine.
Try that.
Okay.
Yeah. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. Your peace pipe.
I love you. Shall we begin?
Yes, Lisa.
All right. So, part 2. Let's talk about John Lennon in 1980. He was 40 years old, for the first time in years, content. So
God, that sounds nice. I got 5 years. I'm hoping to be content by the time I hit 40.
Man, I wasn't. I'm content now.
Okay, well, shut up, because I don't want to have to wait as long as you did.
So after the Beatles' breakup in 1970, Lennon had lived through intense, so this is between the 70 and 1980.
Okay.
He had been through intense political activism, drug use and public controversy, a long battle that was with the U.S. government over immigration, and a self-imposed retreat from fame. So he'd been through quite a lot of events and changes.
Yeah, ups and downs, yeah.
And
do we know what kind of drugs he was using?
Yes, we're going to get into that.
Okay.
So the intense political activism, let's talk about that. Give peace a chance wasn't a slogan, it was a provocation. After the Beatles broke up in 1970, John Lennon didn't just pivot musically, he radicalized publicly.
Okay.
So he went from pop star to protest figure.
Mm-hmm.
And he became deeply involved in anti-Vietnam War activism, anti-establishment politics, and counterculture movements in the U.S. as well as the UK.
Right.
So alongside Yoko Ono, he staged deliberate theatrical protests. They did that. They were known for that. Had you ever seen the bed ones?
I don't know.
Probably not, because it was after after my time, actually. But
it was before your time, you mean?
Well, a couple of them were on MTV.
Oh, okay.
So, but so I had seen them.
Okay.
But it was called the Bed-Ins for Peace. So this started in 1969, which was before my time. And he would stay in bed with Yoko Ono while inviting the press in to discuss ending the war. So they would just be like, we're staying in bed till the war ends. And they would just be in bed and their nightgowns or whatever they were wearing, and have the sheets, and the press would be all in their bedroom and asking them questions, and they would just talk about ending, wars and peace and things like that. It was pretty cool. He actually would buy billboard campaigns that would say war is over if you want it.
Yeah.
And he spent his money just to do that. And he wrote songs like Give Peace a Chance and Power to the People, and then later on Imagine.
Okay.
So he was, a very strong figure for anti-government, anti-establishment, anti-war. And that explains why Nixon...
Absolutely. He had such a huge and high platform to speak from for his opinions.
Yes. Very much so.
Whether you believed in his opinions or not, everybody heard them one way or another because of what he was afforded through his fame.
And could easily be swayed because of his, fame.
Yes, especially young people were going to be. And, even nowadays and today, I hear people on Facebook, one party or the other, it doesn't matter, but I hear them going back and forth like, who gives a shit what so-and-so has to say? They don't know anything about me. And do I think that we should put too much stock into what some superstar who we ourselves have never actually met says? Like, no, I think you need to take it with a grain of salt. But do I think that being a movie star or a musician gives you the ability to see more of the world, which maybe gives you a little bit more understanding of things sometimes, and maybe gives you a more well-rounded knowledge or understanding, or it affords you a better education, or, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then would I like to hear what that person who's seen the entire world and not just Canton, Ohio, thinks about things? Yeah, it's nice to have a different perspective.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It is.
And I think a lot of people feel that way. Like, well, John Lennon's lived in England. He's lived over here now, and he's toured all over the world. And he has he feels really passionate about this view. And let's hear why, and let's hear what he has to say.
Yeah. And a lot of people believed in the anti-war movement.
Yeah, he wasn't alone.
Vietnam vets were coming home in bad shape.
Yeah.
And a lot of post-traumatic stress.
Or not coming home.
Yeah. And it just all seemed pointless, and people were catching on, especially the younger people.
Yeah.
So they were all right along with John and Yoko.
Well, and at that point, we'd been through World War I and World War II. And regardless of the belief of a necessity of those wars or not, and our involvement too little, too late, or too much, whatever people believe, people in that time era had lived through a lot, and they were ready to be like, hey, maybe, not having wars would be pretty fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of tired of our sons dying.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, it's not like he was saying some revolutionary idea that everybody was like, whoa, like, no, like he was just, he was saying what a lot of people felt, but he was able to say it much louder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And the government didn't like it.
No.
Because the government had their agendas and the reasons that they wanted things to be going a certain way. So,
which leads us into the Nixon administration.
Yeah.
They feared, so this is,
I am not a girl.
This has to do with the government. They feared Lennon.
That was my best Nixon.
That was good.
Thanks.
They feared Lennon could mobilize youth voters in the 1972 election. So they
only want old white dudes voting. Let's be for real.
Let's be for real. They placed him under FBI surveillance, and they compiled files tracking his movements, statements, and associations. I mean, he was really under a microscope with them.
Lennon was?
Yes.
Yes.
John later said they were afraid of me because I had influence. And he wasn't paranoid. He was right. So.
Yeah. Yes.
His post-Beatle years were very messy and painfully public, unfortunately. So in the early 70s, that's when he was struggling with heroin. That started late Beatles.
Oof.
Yeah, the big horse, and alcohol abuse, prescription pills, and cocaine intermittently. Okay. So he was basically doing it all.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard shit.
His lowest period came during what he later called the Lost Weekend. That was 73 to 75, when he and Yoko Ono temporarily separated.
I like how he refers to like a 1.5 year time period as the weekend.
The Lost Weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty artistic, actually.
That's kind of like,
in other words, it was just a
kind of like a way to minimalize your 1.5 year long bender.
Yeah. It was a...
Do you remember that one weekend we got really fucked up? And Yoko's like, honey, that was a 2 year. That was 2 years. And yes, I do remember it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's his wit.
Yeah.
But during that time, he drank heavily, got into bar fights, actually, including some infamous incidents in LA clubs. And he was very erratic, acting impulsively, and very self-destructive. It was not a party phase. It was grief, identity collapse, like a total ego death.
Yeah.
And trauma playing out. So, unlike most celebrities, Lennon didn't sanitize his behavior. He openly admitted he had been violent in past relationships. He had neglected his first son, Julian. He had been cruel, angry, and insecure. And songs like Mother, God, and Working Class Hero were raw confessions, not any kind of PR.
Yeah, Working Class Hero is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This honesty is part of why fans loved him and part of why critics despised him. One of the most stressful, under-discussed chapters of his life was in 1972 when the U.S. attempted to deport him using a minor 1968 marijuana conviction from the U.K. as justification.
Right. Nothing like digging deep.
I'm telling you.
Well, when you said he did drugs, I wondered if, like, I'm not condoning or not making a judgment, but I'm just wondering if he was just like smoking weed and maybe some shrooms every once in a while.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like stuff that I would assume that like hippies are doing.
Right.
But, which I know was illegal back then. And there's differences in marijuana laws now, luckily. But, no, he was feeling a little harder than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was heavy. Well, behind the scenes, their motivation for deporting him was all political, and they explicitly discussed Lennon as a problem. For nearly 4 years, he lived with court hearings, appeals, uncertainty about being separated from Yoko, and fear of being barred from the U.S. And he actually described it as psychological warfare.
Yeah, I'm
so
sure.
He really didn't want this to happen.
Was Yoko an American? That doesn't sound, she sounds like she's from like Japan.
Apparently she was American, and I'm sure she was from Japan.
Like, was she a second, like, generation? You know what I mean?
But she would have had American.
She was born in Tokyo, Japan. Yes.
She would have had American citizenship.
So she had, yeah, it sounds like she was over here somehow.
And if they deported him.
You know, she's 92 years old.
Cool.
She's not dead. Just seems wild. But anyways, yeah, if he got deported, then I guess that it would mean
they'd be separated.
She had the baby. Why wouldn't she just come?
Well, she hadn't had the baby yet, but
why wouldn't she just go to wherever he was?
I'm sure she could, but it would take
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
In 1976, he finally won and received his green card. So this was after Sean was born.
Okay.
So he would have been afraid of being deported and not being around her when she had the baby.
Yeah.
And missing out again.
I'm sure.
Second time. It would have been a real huge issue for him.
That makes sense because he'd been working so hard to be present, and any time away would be time missed.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So by the end of it, he was exhausted, very disillusioned with politics, and burned out from fighting this system, which was bigger than himself.
Yeah.
But it helped push him toward retreat and fatherhood, which is what he wanted anyways.
Right.
So in 1975, everything changed when Sean was born. That was John and Yoko's son. He made a radical decision. He walked away. There was no touring, no albums, no interviews. For 5 full years, John Lennon became a stay-at-home dad, the one who cooked the meals and the one who walked his child to the park. And he later said, the greatest thing I ever did was give birth to Sean through Yoko. It was partly redemption. He had missed raising Julian, his first son, and he really wanted to break the cycle because he himself had been abandoned by his own father.
Right.
So the retreat softened him. By 1980, that was 5 years after he started the retreat.
Right.
And when he was ready to get back into his careers again. He was calmer. He was more reflective. He was 40. He was less angry, and he was focused on love rather than confrontation. Double Fantasy, that album, wasn't a comeback album fueled by ego. It was an album celebrating. It was an album celebrating love and domestic life and mutual respect. Critics were actually divided, but Lennon was very optimistic. The album was a love letter to survival, and he wasn't spiraling. He wasn't reckless. He was finally at peace. He told his friends, "I'm just beginning." And actually, he had no idea he had less than a month to live.
Yeah. Yeah, that album is, after going through something like that, and you try to do like a comeback album, so to speak, it can be like, like fucking Saint Anger was for Metallica. You'll get the joke if you listen to Metallica. That whole album is just, there's like 2 good songs off the whole album, and the rest is just, and that's when I was like, I can't call this band my favorite band anymore because yikes.
Oh.
So he could have come back and just like flopped and like no bangers and just tried, Holier Than Thou or switched directions entirely or involved Yoko a little too much or and it didn't. That album is
it's so honest.
Quality.
It's quality.
The lyrics are quality. The music is quality. There's difference. There's ballads. So there's, more upbeat. There's, it's got everything that a good album would have. And, and that's after he had been in the darkest time of his life, and then I was like practicing sobriety and home with his kids in a completely different kind of environment and what's it called when the things around you are shaping your influence.
Oh, influence.
Yeah. You know, and still, you know, so that shows me that he is a truly a gifted musician and can turn anything into an honest song.
Yeah.
And there most
hits.
likely would have been more to come from him. Can you especially imagine in the 80s, like the different ways that the different sounds and technological advances in music instruments, you know, how popular the synth got, and
right.
would he have been the one to lean into or shy away from, or, you know, like, yeah, I bet it would have been a long road musically ahead of him.
I think so too. And the cool part is, even though he was kind of estranged from Julian because of his absenteeism in his life, Julian actually became a song recorder. Did you know that? He has a song.
No.
And it's a good song.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Julian Lennon released a song in the 80s, and I can't remember what it's called now, but it's right on the tip of my tongue, but it was a really good song. And I believe that if John Lennon had been alive, he may have reconnected with his son through music. And maybe they would have done something together, especially because John was planning to mentor younger artists.
Yeah.
So I think that possibility could have been there.
Or was his death what finally pushed Julian into recording something?
Yeah,
if he hadn't died, would it never have happened? You know what I mean? Just one of those things where you won't know. But
that's true.
But you're right. Maybe with time and, you know, maybe after that album came out and Julian, I'm sure he heard it and could hear a difference, and maybe it would have started to bridge the gap, or it's hard to say, but yeah, all these what ifs. It's sad.
He sounds just like John, and he looks like him too. Have you seen Julian Lennon?
He looks... No, I just saw Sean though when I Googled it, and yeah, you're right. He was. Sean looks like him. Let's see if
Julian looks like him too, and sounds like him.
Hold on, here it is. Oh yeah, and the nose and eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, there's a picture of John holding him when he was little, and then beside it, him and Sean. And yeah, yeah, you're right. Very, very similar. Similar faces, that long kind of rectangular shaped face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Sean kind of looks like that one actor from Entourage.
I don't know what Entourage is.
What the fuck is that, guys? Hold on, because I know that you know who the actor is, but I can't think of anything else because you know how my brain is garbage. Oh, Jeremy Piven?
I don't know the name. I might know the face. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, I totally see that. He
looks like, especially, okay, look at this one with the glasses and the beard.
Oh, yeah.
And then look at this picture of Sean. Yeah. If they ever did a movie, Jeremy Piven should play Sean Lennon, for sure.
Yeah, definite resemblance there.
Yeah. Anyways, that was my little sidewinder.
That's all right.
I love giving people a look-alike. In high school, we used to give like the boys we had crushes on like a look-alike.
Mm-hmm. And, we did too.
Yeah. And I always do that for people.
My husband, Chris, look-alike was Bruce Willis.
Your husband now, Chris?
Yes.
I have like 3 celebrities that I feel look like Chris. He just has one of those faces. The guy from Misery.
Okay.
He has like the same kind of like square cut like nose and face. The guy, or you might be more familiar as he's the dad in Buddy the Elf. What's that movie? Elf with Will Ferrell. He plays his dad, Con.
Yeah,
James Caan.
Mm-hmm.
James Caan looks like your husband, and also The guy from Little Miss Sunshine that plays the dad.
Oh, I don't see that at all.
Or
Greg Kinnear?
Greg Kinnear. Yes. Yes, he does.
Oh, wow. No, I would never put those two together.
Chris looks like Greg Kinnear. Absolutely. Yeah. And then every once in a while I'll see somebody and I'll be like, oh, it kind of looks like Chris. He just has one of those faces. I don't know.
I think he looks like Bruce Willis.
That one.
You've always said you don't see
I'm
it.
having a hard time seeing. Yeah.
But
I don't.
In the 80s, when he had his mullet, his face, and he was thinner, he looked a lot like Bruce Willis. And Bruce Willis was really famous then. So it kind of.
I still think that he looked more like James Caan. They have that same nose. Like they have like a square cut nose. Like I can't explain it, but.
No, yeah. I get it.
I do. I always give everybody a look-alike. James Caan look-alike. I don't have one for you. Oh, we used to say you look like Sarah McLachlan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know you don't think so, but you look like Helen Hunt.
Lizzle's mom has told me that before too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny when she told me I was in high school, and I don't know why, but like I remember looking at her and going,
ew.
Oh, really? And just being like deeply offended. And she was like, yeah, it was a compliment. I meant it as a compliment. I was like, okay. And I was thinking of like Twister, like Helen Hunt.
She's pretty in Twister.
I don't know what I was thinking, because now when I watch movies with Helen Hunt in it, I'm like, she's gorgeous and as good as it gets.
Mm-hmm. Or you especially look like her in What Women Want.
What Women Want, yes.
When she has the long, really blonde hair.
Yeah. And now I'm like, oh, that was a compliment. But for some reason, like 15 or 16, 17-year-old me was like, I look like that old bitch. And she wasn't old. I have no idea like what perception changes. Isn't it wild?
Yeah,
Perception's reality.
It is.
Herb used to tell me that I looked like, he always said Veronica Mars, which is the actress's Kristen Bell. Her character was Veronica Mars. She played that on a show. I never saw what show he was by, but he'd be like, yeah, you look like Veronica Mars. And who he meant was Kristen Bell.
Okay.
And she's cute as hell, and I don't see it. He just chose like the first blonde with blue eyes that came to his head, I think.
Okay.
So I don't feel like I look like her. It's hard to gauge ourselves, isn't it?
It is.
I don't know any other superstars with a fucking billboard-sized forehead, so...
Yeah, you definitely have that in common with Helen.
I'm closer to Tim Misney than anybody else.
He makes you pay.
He does. And I'll make you pay too.
All right, let's talk about John.
Okay.
And how his home was a target. And John and Yoko lived at the Dakota, which is a historic luxury apartment building on Manhattan's Upper West Side overlooking Central Park.
Yes.
So you might know Dakota from famous movies. It was featured in Rosemary's Baby. Have you ever seen that?
Right. Yes. You made me watch that when I was younger. Yes.
I'm demented if I made you watch that when you were younger.
Well, I would say made, but like you knew that I like spooky shit and you were like, then you have to see this. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, what in the fuck is going on?
It's a good movie.
It is a good movie.
That's the Dakota's most iconic role. The director of the movie was Roman Polanski, and the Dakota stood in for the fictional Bramford Apartments. The building is central to the film's atmosphere of paranoia and evil. It really is. It's gothic and just kind of fortress-like.
Yeah.
The movie cemented the Dakota's reputation as being creepy, foreboding, and supernatural. And after the film, rumors exploded that the building was haunted or cursed, and it was like a magnet for dark events. The Dakota was known for housing celebrities, but it also had something that was dangerous. It had a predictable entrance, no gated perimeter,
right,
and a doorman who knew Lennon by name. And you'd say, why is that dangerous? And it has to do with John Lennon's belief in being approachable. So he signed autographs. He talked to fans. He talked to the doormen. He believed in openness
Yeah,
and equality.
he wasn't like acting like stuck up.
Yeah, he didn't want to separate himself from the people.
Which also meant that the doorman, if somebody was approaching John, wouldn't have thought like, oh, I better intervene, you know?
Yeah. It's those beliefs that cost him his life, basically. But speaking of creepy things, let's talk about Mark David Chapman.
Chapman. I knew it was Chapman.
Once you hear it, you're like, oh yeah, that's what his name was.
I knew. I was like, no, you're just like thinking of another like Charlie Chapman. Like you're just like, you know what I mean? I knew it though. Like I told you as soon as you said it, I'd be like,
we really don't want Chapman to get any recognition whatsoever because that's what he wanted. When he murdered John Lennon, he wanted fame.
Yes.
But we didn't want his name to even be remembered, but I couldn't remember his name in the last episode.
Because he's forgettable and small.
That's right. Well, okay, so at the time of the murder, he was 25 years old. He was unemployed, mentally unstable, and obsessed with fame, specifically destroying it. Chapman had a history of severe depression. Did you know all this about him?
I don't think I know anything about him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it gets good. He had auditory hallucinations and religious delusions, very much a schizophrenic, probably undiagnosed. I don't think that it was ever diagnosed. I remember watching a documentary and they talked about schizophrenia, but I don't think that he had been to a counselor.
To be diagnosed.
Yes. But he had a fixation on J.D. Salinger's book called The Catcher in the Rye.
Okay.
Did you ever hear of that book?
Yes, I never read it, but I know of the book.
Okay. Well, at the center of Chapman's fixation with the book was a single word that he borrowed from the book called phony. In Chapman's fractured thinking, John Lennon sang about equality, but was rich and famous. So very much not equal to his fans.
Right.
He criticized materialism while enjoying its rewards.
Brownstone. Yes.
He preached humility, but was famous. He advocated love and peace while admitting his past cruelties.
Yeah.
So Chapman could not tolerate this complexity. He needed more black and white, a purity.
Chapman saw him as nothing but a hypocrite.
A phony.
Yeah.
Hypocrite. He borrowed the word phony, and that's what he used a lot.
You're just a phony. You're not one of us. Like, you try to act like you're down here at our level, and you're not. And
exactly.
You don't get it. You don't understand.
Right. That's exactly how he felt.
Yeah, you can say peace and equality, but you live on the safest street in the fucking Upper West Side in a brownstone. And
yes,
like that's where the feeling comes from. Not understanding that life is complex at every level. And yes, we can always say, well, I better not complain. I better not complain about my autoimmune diseases because at least I don't have cancer, or you know what I mean? Like I can look and be like, there are children who lost their parents or who lost their limbs, or, you know, I still have some health and I have my, you know, we can always minimalize and use empathy to like look around and be like, it could always be worse. Like keep a smile on, silver line life. Right. But you can't, it's also not healthy to not recognize your own struggles. And that you do have struggles in your life, even if you also have blessings in your life. And like, yes, was John Lennon blessed in a lot of ways? Yeah, he worked really hard for it. And it doesn't mean that he also didn't have struggles or understand them. And shouldn't we be so thankful that he did have this platform to reach the masses and that he used it to spread a good message?
Yes. Yeah, after he'd been through the ringer and kind of the fire, you know, he came out kind of gilded on the other side where he was better for it.
And he just wanted to try to help other people be better.
Yes. But Mark Chapman couldn't deal with that. He became a fan when he was a Beatle, and
he didn't think both things could be true.
It was hard for him to
Yeah.
do that. Lennon's very human contradictions felt like a personal betrayal to Chapman. He told people to imagine no possessions, but he had millions. To Chapman, that wasn't hypocrisy as growth or irony. It was fraud.
Yeah, it's like,
It was like deeper.
Singing in a way to keep all of us down so that it could all be saved for him, almost. Like,
yeah,
like
that's the way he would have pictured it.
And live without possessions, so more for me.
Kind of how church leaders kind of, tithe.
Right.
While we get rich in the mega churches.
And you stay exactly where we want you to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's pretty easy to fish out that that's not what Lennon was doing. Because if that's what he was doing.
If you're not schizophrenic.
Then he would have been like in with the politicians.
Right.
You know what I mean?
If you're
like,
not mentally ill.
Right. But when you're. Yeah.
So basically, how the obsession flips into destruction. Chapman didn't start by hating Lennon. There was actually a psychological pattern, and it's critical because he idolized him. He really started out as a super fan. So actually, many obsession-driven crimes follow this same arc. It starts with idealization, where the target is perfect, pure, transcendent.
Yeah, you're describing like most relationships too. Anytime where a person or an intimate partner is idealizing you and putting you on a pedestal, and then what inevitably is going to happen, the other person's going to be a human.
You're going to fall from grace.
And or not reciprocate or be like, you're reading more into this, like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you either get branded a stalker or a domestic abuser.
Well, we should say unhealthy relationships have that, where that's the kind of thinking.
Yes.
It's very narcissistic, where you're putting someone on a pedestal. It's very borderline. It actually crosses into borderline personality disorder.
Yeah, I would say it's like a little bit of all of those things. But you do see it.
And that's what they're saying. Obsession-driven crimes follow this arc.
Yeah.
So you've got the idealization and then identification, where whoever is admiring ties their own identity to the target. And then you've got disillusionment, where the target reveals human flaws. As you were saying, they fall from grace. Then after the disillusionment is the devaluation, where they become corrupt, evil, and dangerous in your eyes.
Yeah.
And then finally, the destruction, where violence becomes a justified correction.
Yeah.
So that's the way that sort of crazy people think, unfortunately. So Lennon's honesty...
It's that all or nothing thing.
Actually accelerated this process. Yes, all or nothing, which is very borderline thinking.
Yeah.
John openly admitted his past violence, his neglect of his son Julian, his drug abuse, and his personal failures. And for most fans, that's what made him more real.
Yes.
But for Chapman, it shattered this pedestaled idol, that was this perfect, that he was relating himself to.
Right.
And when the idol collapses for someone with a fragile identity, rage often replaces worship.
Yeah, because they had instilled their own personality into this person. And now they're like feeling betrayal where there was none. Remember, was it last episode where I was talking about a way to feel peace is to take intention and turn it into not personal, but just twist it into something good. Like if I cut you off in traffic, we joked like, just, you know what? They must really got to take a shit. And I don't have to take that personally. They weren't trying to run me off the road. Lord knows I've really had to take a shit before.
Right.
So no harm, no foul. Let's just all go on with our day and not turn that 3-second thing into more than it needs to be, you know? And this is kind of the same thing, is that this guy inflated and equated all of these things that he believed about John Lennon to his own personality, and
Then he felt
then when he
frauded.
found out that they weren't true or that they were wrong, then instead of not taking it personally and just being like, oh, he's his own person, or I can still like him even though he followed a different path, or he just took everything very personally and read way too much in it,
Yes.
and it just leads nowhere good.
This is totally true. Yes. So Chapman didn't see himself as a killer. He saw himself as a judge. And his obsession wasn't just emotional, it was moral in his vision.
Yeah.
He believed he was seriously correcting a wrong. He framed the murder as a moral act, a cleansing act, and a necessary exposure of fraudulent activity. In his mind, Lennon's fame gave him unearned authority. Killing him would tell the truth, and the act itself would carry meaning. That's where Lennon's contradictions mattered most. Because Lennon kept evolving, Chapman felt he was escaping judgment. So the man that Chapman wanted to punish actually no longer even existed.
Yeah.
But Chapman froze him in time. So killing Lennon was a way to steal Lennon's significance. Chapman himself felt invisible. He was unaccomplished, unremarkable, and unseen, where Lennon represented the exact opposite of that.
Right.
Chapman's logic was distorted but consistent. Lennon mattered. Lennon was listened to. Lennon had meaning. And Chapman believed that by killing him, some of that meaning would transfer to himself. His name would be permanently attached to Lennon's, and he would become, quote unquote, someone.
Yeah, everybody that wanted to know what happened to Lennon would have to talk to him.
Mm-hmm. He'd
get the new platform.
Yeah. So Lennon's contradictions made him perfect for this fantasy because Chapman could convince himself the killing wasn't envy but justice. Then let's talk about Lennon's accessibility. That's what made this obsession actionable, unfortunately.
Am I remembering correctly that like a week before the guy had come up and gotten an autograph from him? Or was it the night of or something? Am I remembering this?
It was the night of.
Was it the night of? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. The final contradiction, openness in a dangerous world. So John Lennon seriously believed in openness and practiced it. He signed autographs, spoke to strangers, walked freely along New York streets.
Yeah, even back then.
He didn't have bodyguards.
People that were as famous as him didn't do that. They lived in gated communities. They lived in communities amongst other people with high security, or they lived in the middle of nowhere with security. Like,
yes, very much so.
They did focus on separating themselves, and not necessarily because they felt better. Some of them maybe, but it really didn't
be mobbed.
It really didn't have an ego thing. It was about safety.
It was about safety.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at the other Beatles. I mean, Beatlemania, they'd be suffocated and trampled to death.
Oh, yeah. It got out of fucking hand. Yes. Yeah.
It's amazing how people actually respected John's privacy and didn't mob him when he was out and about.
Well, and New York's a good place for that, too, because New York's a tough city and just keep your head down and walk, get where you're going city. And
that's true.
It was there's a lot of fucking people there too.
Yeah.
It's easier to kind of blend into the crowd there. But, no, it's not lost on anybody that like people who are famous draw the attention of all kinds of people for all kinds of reasons, and that they need a little extra protection. By 1980, it was established that people could have stalkers, and so he opted to say, like, I'm fine. I don't need anything else, which is wild considering that he thought he was going to die young. You think that he would want to, like, not take any of these extra chances.
That's true. So John Lennon sang about peace and trusted people. He really did. Chapman interpreted the trust as naivete, arrogance, and proof that Lennon didn't fear consequences.
Mm-hmm.
So the moment that Lennon signed Double Fantasy, which was the last album he released, Chapman saw it as symbolic permission. That's what you were talking about, the autograph.
Yeah.
Chapman brought the album and said, "Here, will you sign this?" Lennon signed it. He stopped. He spoke to Chapman, but he didn't see him. That's what Chapman believed. He didn't see me.
Yeah.
To Chapman, that confirmed this hierarchy in his mind that Lennon was above and Chapman was below. The gun is how Chapman reversed it.
You're going to remember me now.
Yes. So who was Mark David Chapman? He was born May 10th in 1955 in Fort Worth, Texas. He grew up in a home that felt unstable and frightening to him, even if it didn't outwardly resemble a stereotypical abusive household. His father was an Air Force sergeant and later a civilian engineer, and his mother was a nurse. Chapman described his father as emotionally distant and intimidating, and he reported frequent feelings of fear, inadequacy, and invisibility, which, whether all of those claims about his childhood are fully accurate is very debatable because they're seen through the lens of his mental illness.
It's hard to say, how.
But regardless of whether it was true or not,
right.
Yes, his perception of how it was matters.
His perception of it is all that mattered to him. Yes.
He consistently describes himself as powerless, overwhelmed, and he used fantasy as a coping mechanism.
And if that's how he really felt, even if that wasn't how he was really being treated,
that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
By his own admission, Chapman escaped into elaborate imaginary worlds. He imagined tiny people living in the walls of his bedroom. He cast himself as their ruler. He was all-powerful, admired, and important. So it was a major psychological red flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I've never needed to... I felt unimportant in my life, but never so unimportant that I had to, create fake people in my head to pretend, you know what I mean? That's a sad place.
Yeah. His fantasy wasn't play. It was identity scaffolding. In other words, it made up who he was.
Yeah.
So as Chapman entered his teens, his inner world darkened. There were social struggles like chronic bullying and social rejection. He had poor academic performance, and there was little sense of community for him or belonging. So he began to feel very worthless, very angry, and very invisible.
Yeah. Angry white man syndrome.
Well, he later reported that he had persistent depression, suicidal ideation, episodes of dissociation with violent, intrusive thoughts.
Yikes.
So there's definitely, as I was saying, evidence of early psychosis spectrum symptoms, but he was never adequately treated long-term enough to be diagnosed.
Right.
In his late teens, Chapman turned to Christian evangelicalism. It was specifically charismatic and fundamentalist movements. So for a time, it stabilized him. Who does that sound like?
When you have no identity and someone else presents such a strong sense of fucking purpose and identity, well, here we are.
Yeah. And that's exactly what it offered. Clear moral rules, very black and white, which is how he thought.
Yeah.
It also offered a sense of being chosen.
Right. I wasn't quite sure in how I felt, but y'all seem really sure. And you're telling me that I was created with purpose, and I'm special, and I'm powerful, and I've never heard those things before. And you're saying it like it's law, like it's...
Yes.
This is the way.
Yes.
Like, okay, I like this way.
Yeah, it really drew him in.
Yeah.
He was very drawn to it. And it was an external authority defining good versus evil.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people need that. I'm not necessarily cutting on it. And I'm
No.
not trying to sound like I'm
And not every
morally
Christian goes
more
around shooting people.
Yeah, I'm not trying to sound like I'm morally more superior, but like
It does tend to draw in.
I've never understood the need for like someone else to tell me what's right and what's wrong. Like the Bible says, "Thou shalt not kill." Great. Wasn't planning to, whether the Bible told me that it was wrong or right, because it felt wrong to me anyways, to the thought of taking someone else's life. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But some people think like our world would fall into complete sin and chaos if we didn't have the Bible. And I disagree.
I disagree as well.
I think there would be just as much evil as there is now.
Yeah. We know what's right and wrong.
And
most
people
have
think
a
that
moral
there's
compass.
evil because of people like me that don't believe in the Bible, like 100%. Like, I'm not saying I don't believe in God, but I don't believe in the Bible. And people think that's why there's still sin and there's still evil and stuff. And
No.
And I would disagree. I would say that the evil has always existed. The Bible, if you believe in the Bible tells you like shit's going to be evil.
Yes.
The devil's at work, and we give you free will, and you have to be tempted in order to know if you've earned your spot or not. So, yeah, I just think that it's interesting that there is a connection between people who have black and white thinking and self-esteem issues, and
it draws the lost.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to put these people. They're lost and they're looking for something. They're looking for reason, meaning, maybe just a reason to not do themselves in. I know that's what drew me. I was in desperate need of.
Sometimes it's the church community itself. That you don't have a family, and now you do.
Yeah, I was desperately in need of a sense of belonging and meaning and answers as to the meaning and purpose of life. And you kind of find that they seem to hone in on people that are experiencing that, and it pulls you in. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because it's helpful, but I'm saying that it can
ultimately, I think that it's all rooted in good ideas. So
everything in moderation.
But
and unfortunately, it's very black and white. So people that are maybe unstable take it to the next level, where normal people don't.
Extreme.
Yes. Chapman became intensely devout. He worked as a counselor.
And evangelicals are like the fire and brimstone people.
Yes.
They're like you're going to burn in hell if you don't believe.
Right, right.
Like the really serious
people. It's all about.
And like I said, I'm a person who likes black and white thinking. And I can dig that. Like, yeah, don't fuck up. It's your eternity, and God gave his only son for you. Take it seriously, or guess where you're going. Like, like to me, like even when I don't subscribe to that, I can I get why people do. Mm-hmm. I love the surety of it.
Oh, okay.
I love this is it. This is what you get.
Okay.
Fuck around and find out. Like I can see where it pulls people in. Like I get it. So.
And that's what I hate about it.
Yeah. And that's why I often keep trying to tell people, like, I am one more rough year and shitty situation away from absolutely losing my fucking shit and running a mega church and just deep diving into something psychotic.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, I am just, I'm about to jump off the edge here. Like
Let's not do that.
I am just barely hanging on by a thread before
I know she's looking for someone to punch in the face.
Scientology actually is making a lot of fucking sense these days. Like I'm this close to fucking grippy socks.
Wants someone to fuck around so that she can show them how they're going to find out.
I will find them out.
That's where she's at right now.
Yeah.
But you just started back to school. Life is stressful for her. She's a full-time mom, working, housewifing, being a mother.
Housewifing to myself. Just taking care of the houses.
That's what I
Yeah.
meant. And now going to school, it's very stressful on top of your kids' problems, your health issues.
Never ending problems with my ex, even though we're not even fucking together. Just because of the kids, we're always together. You know what I mean? How
It's
that goes.
very
And-
stressful.
yeah. And
So
then
that's why she wants to punch somebody in the face.
friends that want to hang out, and
Courtney wishes a motherfucker would.
I do wish a motherfucker. Yeah. Like I just need to hit something really hard every once in a while. The soft flesh of an annoying human would be nice. But anyways,
Well, Chapman worked as a counselor at a YMCA camp.
I also had that job.
Yes, you did. That's hilarious.
Oh.
Are you about ready to kill somebody famous? Are you going after...
No, I have
Taylor
a
Swift?
list, and there's no famous people on it.
Okay, you have a
No,
list. That's
I have a
scary.
list. I do feel a moral
I know
superiority.
number one person.
Superiority. Did I just make that word?
You did.
Go ahead and do your Jim look to the camera.
No, superiority is a word.
Superiority.
Superiority. That's the word.
I was leaving out a
superiority.
Yeah, no, I do feel like I some days I wonder, like, we talk a lot about karma, and when you do bad, it's coming back around for you. And some days I feel like maybe I am supposed to be the karma. Maybe I'm supposed to bring you the karma and bring you the pain that you've brought others. Karma in action.
Well,
but I haven't got there yet. And y'all know when I do.
I hope that you find some peace and give peace a chance.
Absolutely.
Okay, back to Chapman. He was speaking very openly about Jesus, trying to be evangelical, and he was described as very earnest and obsessive. But once again, that pattern arc emerged that I was telling you about with the pedestal. So it was total immersion. It went to disillusionment, and then finally to rage with religion. What in the hell are you doing? But you don't want to get up?
Just keep reading your script. You weren't even supposed to notice I was doing this.
Oh, no, I couldn't notice that. When his faith didn't erase his depression or self-loathing like he wanted it to, he turned on it.
Oh, kind of like you did.
Yeah, I mean, when I am very, I can totally relate to Mark David Chapman's love of religion and having found something that can help you, to turning it into it's all been a lie. And
because again, you were looking for this like sense of fulfillment, and there's a lot of promises in religion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and you are so devout and you do believe it so wholeheartedly, and that little bit of egomaniac that's in you because of whatever's mentally unstable, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Thinks like the good shit's coming my way. Like I just was speaking about karma, right? It's not karma because that's Hinduism, I think, and not Christianity. But if I can liken it and just use the word karma, I know no one believes like I do. I know no one cares like I do. And I look at these other Christians in the church and they say that they care like I do, but they didn't throw their CDs away and they're still taking Tylenol for headaches and they don't pray in Jesus' name to be healed. And I know I do. And I know that I am living right.
Oh, I 100% black and whited it and believed that.
I know I have every faith that the good things are coming. The promises of Jesus are coming. The good karma is coming back to me. Whatever you want to, you know what I mean? And then when it doesn't, and I'm not even shitting on the Bible to say it didn't because it wasn't true to begin with, even though that's kind of what I think. But it doesn't because that's not how God works. God is not like immediately going to bless you. And sometimes your blessings, sometimes your blessings are unknown. You're just supposed to realize that you are blessed no matter what. and maybe the money that you thought what you wanted isn't what you got. Maybe you were on your way to getting cancer, and what you don't know is that God changed your cells and you're healthy, and that's your blessing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I totally get it.
You don't know that you're not getting blessed. You just know that you're not getting what you thought you were going to get in the amount of time that you thought you were going to get it. But when you're diving into it 110% and just running into it full speed, right with your head, like no holds barred. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It has a time frame for these types of people where they're like, where's my fucking blessings? I know I'm caring more than Karen over there is caring, but Karen just got the fucking Rolls Royce and I'm still driving my shitbox over here. So
do you think that's how I was equating it? I'm getting that's what you think that I
No, I think that that's what a lot of people do.
Okay, because that's not what happened to me at all.
I think that you start to look around.
And I felt blessed.
I think you start to look around and you start to see
I felt miracles were happening.
What fucking miracles did you think were happening in our life?
Healings. I felt Chris threw his glasses away and could see without his glasses. I felt my asthma went away, that I didn't need to take my medicine anymore. I felt that I could pray medicine away. I felt that I could pray thunderstorms away in Jesus' name.
When I say she was deep in it, you guys have no idea what life was like at that time in my house.
It was definitely the musings of an unstable mind who was all or nothing thinking. And I just believed it 100% as written. I was the say it and claim it. And we went to the Full Gospel Church, and I believed everything that they preached, and we practiced it.
I'm telling you, it was to the point where if they were like,
we went to church 4 times a week.
You should go to your roof and say, Jesus, float me to the ground, and then jump to prove to me that you are devout. Mom would have been the first one on the fucking roof
believing I could float. I would have.
Oh yeah.
If they'd have said that, I would have believed it. No, I felt that I could lay hands on and people would be healed through Jesus's name. I mean, I just believed. And
I don't know. I can't say that you didn't, because of course it wouldn't work on me, because I wasn't allowing it to work on me, because I was just like, get your fucking hands off of me in my heart. So I was blocking the blessings.
That one time Clay had his eye swelled up around his pupil where the white was like.
Oh, his allergies get very bad. The sclera swells.
And we laid hands on him and didn't take him to the doctor, panicking because I just believed, oh, God's going to cure this. And then it went away. So here's what I think now. But at the time, I thought, yeah, this stuff works. Why isn't everybody doing this?
And I have an answer. I'm wanting to hear what yours is first.
Well, I believe that it works for mind over matter for a lot of autoimmune things. Autoimmune is stress related. And if you believe, I believe that mind over matter can work on some things. Did my broken bones ever heal that I still have problems with today? No, because they are not autoimmune things. They are broken bones that didn't heal right. And so I'm not going to get full movement, and they didn't just miraculously go back to normal. So I feel like it's autoimmune.
Yep.
And some things, mind over matter, I truly believe can work. I believe cancer patients can mind over matter. Their cancer can diminish into remission. I don't know if it can cure them, but I do believe there's a strong mind over matter power in some way that doesn't have anything to do with
That's
God.
What I was going to say. I was going to say mostly I think it is peace. I think peace brings healing. So when you can completely let go of the worry and give it to God and say, like, God, I'm praying for you to heal this, and I know it's in your hands, and I know you're going to take care of me. And you can take it out of the forefront of your own mind and give it to God and tell yourself, like, this is on God's mind now, so I don't need to worry. You can, what?
I was just thinking about Chris. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I thought you were laughing at me. I was like, is there a booger in my nose?
No, continue.
No, but I think that, like you said, the stress produces cortisol produces these things that have like scientific effects on your body.
There's no booger. I'm sorry. It's just so fucking funny.
Please tell me what you're laughing about.
So I was thinking about so it's mind over matter and how Chris's eyes were magically healed when he threw his glasses away.
Yeah.
He swears that they were. I don't think they were. I think Chris just went along with whatever shit I was throwing out.
Chris had already been with you for a while at that point, and he knew just like we did that it was easier to just be like, whatever you say, Kelly, yes.
Yeah, he was saying,
yep, I'm cured.
Yeah, because in my way of thinking
he
probably
had glasses like in the glove compartment that he didn't tell mom about, straight up.
Part of my belief in the Bible was, if you believe you're cured, why do you have to hold on to that medicine? Or in this case, your glasses.
You don't. It shows a
It
lack
shows
of
the
faith.
devil. You don't have a complete
that you doubt God.
Belief.
That you doubt, yes.
So in order to prove to the devil, because the devil is the one that's bringing all of this on you. He is your judge and your jury. And he goes to God and says, look at them. They don't believe that shit. They've got their glasses in their drawer because they know it's not going to work. So let them continue to be blind or whatever.
Yeah.
If you throw your stuff away, that is a true, what can the devil say to that? And so that is a true sign of belief that you believe you are cured. And then if you're not cured immediately and you still have symptoms, they're called lying symptoms. That's where the devil's still taunting you like, well, let's just see.
Yeah.
Let's just see if this can last a week, or are they going to go out and buy some more glasses or medicine? So now there's the lying symptoms. And you have to say, I stand on the faith that by his stripes I am healed. And that, I can't even remember all the things that I used to say to claim that I was healed.
I blocked him out too.
But Chris, I believe, said he was healed just to be part of the club that I was in, and to not make waves in our marriage, because I wanted this to work and I was so gung-ho about it. And Chris is one who's not going to go against me. He, happy wife, happy life. So anyways, the part that's making me laugh my ass off is in church. If you go to a full gospel church, there is music and it is jamming up in there. I mean, it is fun. We are playing electric guitar and a full drum kit and horns, and we are having a blast, and there is joy, and it is jubilant, and we are joyful, and we're singing, and our hands are up in the air, and we're praising God, and it is just a huge, imagine going to your favorite concert, and you get this feeling of, jubilation.
Yeah,
and
there's a buzz in the air when everybody's sharing the same experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
In this case, it was for God, but so we would do what's called running. We would have spirit night, and the people in the church, when you got the spirit, would just run around the whole church. And Chris got the spirit one night, and he was going to run.
I know this story.
And I was standing there watching him run, and Pastor Mike was standing there watching him run, and everybody was running. There were a lot of people running, but Chris ran and got right up in the front of everybody, right in front of Pastor Mike, right in the front. And with his perfect vision, tripped over something and went flying through the air like this with his arms out. And he looked like Superman. He just tripped, whoop, and he was running so fast, his whole body just flew through the air like this. And Pastor Mike was preaching and just stopped when he was doing it. The look on his face.
And we're talking about a room full of 1,000.
Oh, yeah. This church is a mega church.
It's a huge church.
Yeah. And Chris just got up and kept running. But it's just hilarious. If you saw him fly through the air like Superman, and if you know my husband, that would have been embarrassing. Pastor Mike was his buddy.
Not in Jesus' name.
Pastor Mike loved Chris. Chris was in the worship team and played the guitar. They got together and had lunch. Everybody wanted to have lunch with Pastor Mike. Not everybody got to. Pastor Mike invited Chris to lunch. and wanted to talk to him about music. Pastor Mike was a bass player. So they had that, thing going on. And Pastor Mike just looked at him, and it was just hilarious. It was so funny. And in a totally mean way, I'm just being mean. It was just funny because he just fell.
Because you were talking about his eyes being healed, and you're like, oh, not enough to not see that thing you tripped over.
Right.
Yeah. Pastor Mike should have capitalized on that. Like, in Jesus' name, that man's going to be okay. And then he gets up and keeps running, and he said, told you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I cannot with the fucking mega churches. I can't. But, okay, so why were we talking about that? Let me backtrack. Because this guy was getting huge in, but now he was going through the disillusion phase, which is where, for whatever reason...
Oh, yeah, my disillusion.
You're starting to feel like this isn't actually fitting for me.
My disillusion came when you became an atheist.
Yeah.
And then I had to really face, if you really believe,
and I really feel like I was calling myself
gung-ho,
an atheist because you were such a psychopath. Because I think agnostic is a better way to describe how I feel.
Which
now that
still
I'm a
would
little
have
older.
freaked
It
me
still
out.
would have freaked you out because I didn't subscribe to the Bible, which is what would have freaked you out either way. But I was just like, I don't believe in any of it. It's all fucking bullshit. God's bullshit. And you were
And I had to come to a realization of, well, then she will go to hell because she won't accept Jesus as her savior. And that, if I believed the Bible, then I had to believe that. Well, I loved Jesus with all my heart. Like I said, we went to church 4 times a week. We had Wednesday night service, Thursday night choir practice, Saturday night service, and Sunday morning service.
And I was so thankful that was the time where I was doing weeknights with mom and weekends with dad. We weren't doing every other weekend. So I only had to go Wednesday nights. Oh my God. Thank God. For the time of my life.
And I loved it. And it was a beautiful part of my life. I mean, I cannot tell you how much I loved that part of my life. I was in it 100% to win it. And, just loved all aspects of it. And when you said that, I had to say, okay, that means she's going to hell. And then I had to say, am I okay with that? And the truth of the matter was, no, I am not okay with it. If I really believe this is 100% accurate and everything in the Bible is how it goes, I am a rebeller of this practice. I go against it. And not only that, but I felt literally raped by the church that a church could do that to my daughter. That I felt raped by God. I felt this man that I love with all of my heart,
yikes,
is doing this to my belief. And I got suckered in.
I think that it's so black and white in a way that even you are like, oh, I wish there was a gray area, which is not something that you had ever said at any other time of your life, because you were like,
I was a black and white thinker.
Yeah, you were like, no, I get it. Like, if you don't believe, you go to hell. But you were like, no, now I know 3 things to be true. One is that my daughter is ultimately a really good person who has kindness in her heart and
hasn't sinned as much as I have.
Wouldn't hurt anybody or do anything wrong.
But I'm apparently going to heaven and she's going to hell.
And the
if we
second
both
thing
died right now.
Yeah, the second thing I know is that God and Jesus are loving and forgiving and created everything out of love and beauty. And I can't believe that they would turn her away. And then 3 is what I know to be true is that the Bible, that's what it says. It says that they are going to turn her away.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't reconcile those 3 things that I know.
That's exactly it.
Math.
That's exactly it.
And
I just lost it all.
But so your reason might have been different than what I was describing. But would you agree that the next steps are, once there is something that makes your very white way of thinking have just a shadow on it, that you start that's your fucking descent into the black way of thinking now. Like once it starts, then you start being like, you know what? I didn't really like this part of it anyways. And you know what? This is I take fucking issue with this. And then you know what? This was bullshit too. And now I'm pissed off about this. Before now it's you're just here.
Yeah, now you're seeing all the other things.
Yeah.
That were wrong with it.
And that's what like this Chapman I think kind of had happen was for whatever reason he had this white way of thinking about the Beatles or John Lennon or popular people or fame, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And at first he thinks that he, you know, loves John Lennon. And then there's this little shadow of like, wait a second, he just said you should give up all your possessions. But he said it from in his really fancy bed with his really fancy linen sheets. And it panned around his room and it was full of beautiful pieces of art and things in his beautiful brownstone. Like, this guy fucking loves possessions. Like, then you start picking it apart, and that's where you get to anger.
Yes.
Because you feel lied to or...
Exactly. But just to clarify, you may not know this, John Lennon didn't have a crap ton of possessions. When they panned around his bedroom, the walls were bare. He didn't have this big gilded bed. It was just a regular bed. He really did practice what he preached. And his home outside of New York that he had was just a plain home, and it wasn't fancy, not like Michael Jackson.
Right.
He really didn't have all the stuff. He did live in the Dakota, which was a beautiful apartment in New York. It's obviously expensive. So that's where, you know, Chapman took it.
Could he have lived?
He could have. He had money.
Like a richer life. Yeah.
So, but this is in regards to his religion with Chapman's, you know, obsession with God right now.
Yeah.
His faith didn't erase his depression or self-loathing, and so he turned on it. And then he found The Catcher in the Rye. His obsession with The Catcher in the Rye was pathological. The Catcher in the Rye is about a troubled teenager named Holden Caulfield, who wanders New York City over a few days after being expelled from prep school.
Okay.
Holden is alienated, depressed, and angry, and he's obsessed with the idea that the adult world is full of quote-unquote phonies, people he sees as fake, shallow, and corrupt. So he struggles with grief, especially over the death of his younger brother, and his deepest wish is to protect children from growing up, symbolized by a fantasy where he stands in a field of rye and catches kids before they fall off a cliff into adulthood, hence The Catcher in the Rye.
Yes. Okay.
And at its core, the novel is really about loss of innocence, fear of adulthood, mental instability, a young person desperate for meaning and purity in a world that feels cruel and dishonest. But Chapman didn't just relate to Holden and see the...
Like, we all go through that, and we all, you know, but
yes,
he read into it a little bit more.
And
I've never
Holden.
read that story because I'm not well read. I don't read a lot. Apparently I don't speak much either. One of them there books that's on the top 100 that you should know. Chances are I don't know it. I don't know this one. I don't know how I missed this because most people have to read it in school and I didn't. It must have been, I don't know. I fucking missed it. But anyway,
we read The Lord of the Flies.
And I didn't read that one either. I think it was because there was a time period between when I switched over to advanced English and then I opted out and went back to taking regular that like I missed some of the regular reading assignment. I don't know though. But and I certainly wasn't going to go look them up in my free time. So that never happened. But from what you're saying, like, I can relate to Holden, like the feeling of like everybody's so fucking shallow and image driven and possession driven and phony. And nobody wants like deep connections or searches for a deeper meaning or really cares. Like, yeah, I feel that way very
Mhm.
much so. Like, I could like get behind that way of thinking, but I'm not gonna like turn it into my fucking mantra or my like religion. Like,
Yes.
um,
Because you're not a psychopath.
yeah, and there's probably a reason that it has remained on the readers list for how long, because most people probably feel that way.
It's relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if they don't know how to get out of it or self-reflect and do better, most people at some point in their life definitely feel that way.
Yeah, I'm sure. Chapman adopted the language of the book, the worldview, and the moral absolutism. The concept of phonies gave Chapman a villain, a justification, and a mission.
Right.
It was crucial because Chapman lacked an internal sense of self. He needed a borrowed identity. So he had no id. Are you familiar with the id?
Yes.
Yeah. Which is common in borderline personality disorder. So there was no sense of self. He found it first in religion, then that collapsed. He found it in this book.
Yeah.
As far as his adult life, it was just marked by instability. He held numerous short-term jobs and he couldn't sustain responsibility. He did live intermittently with his parents. In other words, they were his safety net.
Right.
And then he married a girl named Gloria Abe in 1979, about a year before he ended up murdering John Lennon. And at the time, the marriage looked on the surface like a stabilizing step for him.
Yeah.
But in reality,
I'm sure everybody held out hope, like, okay.
I know, I'm sure.
Like,
it actually exposed how fragile he already was.
when I say everybody, I really just meant like his parents and if he had siblings.
Yeah.
So his parents were probably like, all right, he's going to get the fuck out of here. Like,
Right. Well, Gloria was born in Hawaii of Japanese American descent, and she was very quiet and religious and conservative. She worked steadily while Chapman drifted. Friends described her as patient and gentle and practical, essentially the opposite of Chapman's volatile inner world that was going on.
yeah.
And she was also the primary breadwinner. So because Chapman struggled to hold a job and he had no clear direction. In the marriage, she worked full time and he was often unemployed, which, because he had to rely on her financially and emotionally, it fed his insecurities.
Yeah.
So the belief that he was weak, insignificant, and failing as a man increased because of her, because of the marriage.
Yeah.
So rather than motivating him, it intensified this shame that he had. And he just became more and more unstable. He was experiencing a severe depression, the auditory hallucinations. He would swing between religious devotion and despair. And obsessively, she said he talked about the catcher in the rye, just obsessively. So Gloria later said she knew he was mentally unwell, but mental health resources were limited. He resisted consistent treatment, and he could appear calm and normal for stretches of a time. You didn't know what was going on inside of him.
Right.
Crucially, he didn't share the full extent of his violent thoughts with her about what he was, planning with John Lennon.
I'm sure he didn't.
He had been obsessed with John Lennon since before the marriage. And then after marrying Gloria, his obsession intensified. He was speaking more about phonies and framing Lennon as morally corrupt. And he tied his own worth to a grand, abstract mission. So now this is where his direction is going.
Right.
Gloria later said she didn't believe he would actually hurt anyone. She thought his talk was symbolic, religious, or rhetorical.
Right.
So,
I feel like that's what most people say. Like, yeah, I knew he was depressed and shit like that, but I didn't think it was to that extent.
Yes.
Because most people, if they knew it was to that extent, would intervene in some way. Not all. Some people
Yes.
still wouldn't do something, but yeah, you never know how far somebody's going to take it until
That's
they,
true.
Then it's hindsight.
Yeah. So in December of 1980, he told Gloria he was going to go to New York and framed it as a personal spiritual journey.
And she said, okay, don't rush home.
She allowed him to go. After the murder, she ended up standing by him initially. So she attended the court proceedings. But she did express sorrow for Lennon's family. And she stated she still loved her husband, but condemned his actions. However, the marriage didn't survive and they ended up divorcing.
Yeah.
In December of 1980, he traveled to New York and he had bought a .38 revolver in Hawaii and was practicing shooting it. He was very conflicted, but he was not confused. He reportedly heard an internal voice telling him to do it, quote unquote. But he also planned meticulously. So it matters because it shows agency alongside with his illness. So,
right.
In other words,
he had the presence of mind to know that it needed to be calculated, that, the presence of mind to plan and execute.
Exactly.
To execute an execution.
Premeditate, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes, he was probably schizophrenic. Didn't matter. He was also in full.
Yeah, he wasn't so far gone that his capacity to understand was diminished.
Right.
Without. So,
So you can be schizophrenic and not be crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or legally
the main difference is
insane.
That if you're schizophrenic and you're thinking to yourself, like, God, I know this is crazy. I can't tell other people I'm feeling this way. You're still legally sane.
Right.
When you start just walking down the street in your underwear, like trying to like have conversations with pigeons, completely unaware of the world around you, that's when you've flipped over into like
insanity.
You don't have the capacity to understand right from wrong anymore. So,
yes.
And some people never get there, which is why an insanity defense is hard.
It is.
So, especially if you did any kind of cleanup after the murder or anything that signified that you were trying to get rid of evidence or not tie it back to you.
Right.
Because that shows that you still understood that there were laws that you needed to abide by and you knew you hadn't, and you knew, like, this isn't going to end well for me. Insane people shouldn't have the ability to do that.
Exactly. So, yeah. So that tells you where his mindset was and what was going on. And that's where we're going to end it today, that cliffhanger.
Dun, dun, dun!
So tune in Saturday to hear about the last day of John Lennon's life. So we want to thank you for hanging out and sticking around. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing or liking the video or commenting.
Absolutely. Do it. If you hear a little voice in your head that says, subscribe, do it. Listen to that voice. It's a good voice.
All right. Well, tune in next time.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for being here. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.